Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Before we get going today, I would just like to address an ongoing issue that I've mentioned once before on the channel. I can only assume that I have touched on a topic that YouTube does not want being discussed. I keep getting comments from people saying that they've been mysteriously unsubscribed from the channel, and while none of my analytics have changed at all, for some reason, YouTube has stopped putting my videos in front of people. Even viewers who have watched every single episode and watch every episode the day that I release it, I'm getting a lot of comments from those viewers saying that they'll go 2 weeks at a time thinking that I'm not posting because YouTube doesn't present the video to them. So if you're a daily viewer, I just want to say make sure that you come to the channel and check, because I do usually post Monday through Friday, and anyone who's watching, double check to make sure that you are still subscribed. I can only assume that since I'm not like a lot of these other channels where it's just basically a compilation with a guy hosting, since we do actually discuss the ideas in these clips. Although I don't like to jump to conclusions, I'm kind of starting to think that maybe YouTube doesn't like the way that I'm building my videos. They don't have a problem with me sharing the type of content because other channels are doing it. I can only assume that they don't like that we actually discuss the ideas here. But if you're a daily viewer, if you are a subscriber, make sure that you are still subscribed, that YouTube hasn't mysteriously unsubscribed you. Although I hate asking this, if you intend to watch every day, you might want to hit the bell notifications. And if you can remember, interact with the content in some way, either clicking like or leaving a comment so that YouTube knows that you actually enjoyed the content and they'll keep feeding it to you. But now, with my little public service announcement out of the way, let's get after it.
For the first time in over 50 years now, NASA is about to officially send humans back to the moon, and you are going to be able to watch the entire thing on a live stream. So NASA has now officially confirmed that Artemis 2 is supposed to be targeting April 1st for the official launch date. 4 different astronauts are about to be able to use the most powerful rocket that's ever been built. It's going to launch from the same exact pad that sent Apollo to the moon, and it's going to fly farther from Earth than any human has ever been able to go. And they're actually going to be looping across the far side of the moon at 25,000 miles per hour before coming back. Nobody's ever done this before. The last time humans obviously went anywhere near the moon was back in 1972, which was 54 years ago. This crew includes the first woman and the first person of color to ever be able to leave Earth's orbit. And NASA is actually going to be streaming this entire thing on live stream, so unlike before, we're all going to be able to watch it. It's going to include the launch, the lunar flyby, the re-entry, the splashdown, literally everything. I'm going to be going live on the very second that the rocket is going to lift off, and we are all going to watch it together on live stream. This is about to be a literal once-in-a-generation event, because the last time that this happened, people obviously had to watch it on black and white TVs. We're all about to be able to watch it together.
First of all, I'll believe it whenever I see it. They keep dangling this carrot of a moon mission in front of us like we're all on the edge of our seat just waiting. I don't believe for a second that they're about to send men around the moon, and they're definitely not going to land up there. In this next clip, I'm going to show you a very good reason why I don't believe they're going to land up there.
Take a look at this video I took of the moon the other day. Now logically, by looking at the angle of the light reflecting on the moon, we can assume that if the source of illumination is the sun, then we can deduce that the position of the sun should be in this direction. And we also have to correct for the three-dimensional aspect, which would also position the sun slightly forward, such as is indicated by this arrow. Now I think that we can all fundamentally agree that this is the correct deduction. So now let's zoom out and see if the sun is where we predicted it would be. And we can now clearly see that the sun is nowhere near where it should be. Now I made another video like this a couple of days ago showing the same kind of impossible angle. And some have said that it could be caused by the enormous relational distances between the Earth, Moon, and the Sun. But when you look at this diagram, you can see that if I'm standing on the Earth in the northern hemisphere where I took this video, and I'm looking at the moon at around that angle to my left, and the sun is setting to the west to my right at this angle, I don't see how distances could cause the angles to be different. As a matter of fact, the further the sun is, the more precise the angle should be. Others have postulated that the angle illusion may be caused by the enormous size of the sun, which is 109 times larger than the diameter of the Earth. But if you would bring the sun close to the Earth and Moon, you can see that it would cause a completely different angle geometry on the Moon. Plus, we would also be able to easily see the relative positions of the Sun and Moon and easily deduce the proper angles of the light as being compatible. But the Sun is said to be 93 million miles away from the Earth, which gives it the same relational size to the Moon. You would not get these types of angles unless the Sun was much closer. So that is not an option to consider. So based on what we can see, this is, in my opinion, concrete evidence that the Sun is not the cause of the reflection we can see here on the Moon.
If you really stop and think about it, if the Sun and the Moon were in relation to each other in the sky where we're told they are, wouldn't it only make sense that as the Sun moves through the sky on a day that the Moon is clearly visible, that you would actually see a shift in the supposed phase of the Moon? Wouldn't it only make sense that you would literally see the reflection on the Moon changing throughout the day as the Sun moved around the edge of the Earth? But like so many other things that NASA or science in general tries to feed us in relation to how all of this stuff functions, the only way that you can fully buy into it is to ignore what your eyes see and just get on Google and look and see how many times we've seen a planet that was supposed to be behind the Moon lit up dead center, as if the Moon is just some hologram or something. And if you believe your eyes when seeing that, then it's not even something solid that could be landed on. And I don't know how to explain that, but I know I've seen it time and time again. I know that based on what our eyes see, the phases of the Moon literally make it appear to phase in and out of existence, almost as if it's more solid whenever there's a full moon than it is whenever there's a crescent moon. And again, I'm not saying that's how it works. I don't know how it works, but I know what they're telling us doesn't make any sense, and I don't think they're going to land anything up there.
Matrix was definitely created by time travelers to warn us about the future that we were headed towards, because what you're witnessing right here, this is a fly that was not born, but created from scratch using an identical brain. And as soon as it was uploaded to the simulation, it just started walking. Moving, grooving, vibing, sliding. It didn't need to get taught nothing. Have you ever seen that show Upload? But this is basically it, where it's like now the fly is living in this simulation. Which obviously, yeah, exactly. Margin for error, you guessed it. Death, this is about to be happening to us, son. Brain cells playing Doom, and now I'm watching a fly live without actually being born. I mean, yeah, what's next is probably us in these. And I'm already thinking about the rich and elite. That's their whole, we don't ever want to die. This life is so good. I'm part of the 1%. I got billions of dollars. Everyone else is suffering. I want to keep on doing this. I don't want to think about the afterlife. I could go to hell. And it's hot. And I'm going to be dressed cold. I'm not doing that. And so now we're just like, you know what? You could live forever, but not really live, but you're living though. Because you're having a human experience, but you're really just in a simulation. And sometimes I'll be like, well, maybe this is what our world is already. You know what I mean? Because you can still have a God, technically, because they just created the simulation. But now, we're creating other worlds and other simulations. It's like, oh, this is getting spooky, son. And me, as a regular human, I'm cool with the unknown. When it's my time to go, take up top, man. What up, God? What's going on? And if he's not up there, then I guess that's unfortunate. But I'm not risking getting put into a simulation. I mean, as a hater, I'm just saying, if I knew you was in a simulation, I ain't with you. You gonna simulate some terror in my every day. You gonna wake up spooked. I'm be sending ghosts, drones, everything. And guess what? You in a simulation. But that's the thing, like, if you die in the simulation, you just get re-uploaded or does your code get completely deleted? And the memory transfer is so interesting because it's like, clearly it remembered different activities, how to walk, how to eat. The fruit fly, so we don't know what it remembers like memory-wise and how to compare that to a human brain and what memories we would transfer over. But all this to say, this seems apocalyptic to me. I understand there's like sciences and like, oh, this is healthy, this is good. This don't sound like no breakthrough. This sounds like living hell. Somehow this is gonna be made into a business where like, oh, you can afford to go live in this simulation after you die, but we looking at your bank account credit score, it look like you gotta go to the third world simulation. Bonds get dropped every day. It's basically just like, living in a third world country today, but we're just uploading you to that forever. Okay. And then, can you get uploaded with the homies? Can my girl come get uploaded with me too? Or you guys like uploading a different version of them, but not a real version? And can you upload the same brain to multiple servers, and so I'm living like 5 different lives. But technically, I'm really not living any of them because it's all simulation, but I kind of feel like I'm living all of them.
I know this sounds like the ramblings of a madman, but the guy makes some really good points. The one thing I think he's failing to consider is that you're not going to potentially be living in 5 different simultaneous simulations. You're not going to be living in any of them because literally they're just making a copy of your brain in whatever way it is that they plan to scan it, and they're uploading that copy to a simulation, to a simulated environment. It's not gonna be you. If I copy a file off my desktop and then throw it in iMessage to send a copy of it to a friend, when they get that copy, it's a brand new file. It's identical to the one that I made it from, but the file that I made it is in no way connected to that new version that now lives on my friend's computer. How would they ever convince someone that they're able to attach their spirit or their soul to this copy that they're digitally uploading into a simulated environment? Because man will never have control or access to the human soul. And of course, if they actually did a good enough job copying everything and pasting it into the simulated universe, the copy of you is going to think that it's really you. But the you that exists right now will have no connection to this simulated copy. You would still die, you would still disappear, and this simulated copy would live on without you. And I think this is the key point that most people don't even consider. And this should literally be the key thing to consider. Because when you take that into account, why would developing this technology even matter?
The following home security video is probably one of the craziest I've ever seen so far, and honestly, I have no explanation for you. The woman, Mel, who captured this with her home security camera has no explanation for you. What I can do is tell you what happened to them on this night. She states that she and her husband heard this loud boom, and then her animals went absolutely crazy, and then her Ring cameras went off, indicating that there was somebody or a human detected outside. But when they went to go check it, this is what they found. They have no idea what it is. I've also slowed down the video as slow as I could possibly go, and it still doesn't really show you what the heck caused this sonic boom.
I don't know that I have a good idea about what this is, but what it appears to be is something moving at a supersonic rate of speed. They could literally take this video footage and use it as B-roll in the Flash series. It's unfortunate that there's only a couple of frames where you can see movement and see these flashes of light, but if you look on the frames immediately after you see the flashes of light, it looks like there's a cloud of smoke or something swirling around the base of where these lights flashed at. It literally looks like something ran through the scene so fast that it stirred up the dirt, but it was so quick it was only in a couple of frames. And maybe if that is what was caught on video here, maybe the speed that it was running was what made it appear so bright as just this flash of energy. But what is y'all's best guess on this? All I can really determine is that it looks like something going lightning fast.
Does anyone care to explain how I'm building a structure that's over a mile long, okay, And yet they're using lasers and levels, and this structure is completely level. And but so after a mile, you should have to compensate on this ground that you're excavating to be able to account for the 8 inches per mile squared. So, but it's not 8 inches below on the other end. They're literally pouring these footers for the columns at the same height, all the way down, over a mile. It's not 8 inches. I took a tape measure to it myself. So, can somebody please explain that? If we live on a curved, rotating ball, please. It's definitely flat, people. Let's just call it what it is. Flat Earth. Flat, infinite plane. So to follow up on my last video, some people don't like to explore with their mind. They just like to be told what to believe and what to think. I am not one of those people. This is a concrete pad. This is a column footer. The thing about building is, it has to be perfectly level, flat, square, and plumb. Just like here, you see it. The person who measured all this and drove the kicker stakes and the form in the ground had to use a laser level, and he put it on this corner, and from here all the way down, completely flat, level, straight, plumb. See how this one matches that one? You could do it with a string, and it would still give you a perfectly flat, straight, square line. For some reason, people just still don't believe. Even the water in the concrete knows to be perfectly flat and level. You don't live on a spinning ball.
That's pretty much getting it straight from the horse's mouth right there. We see a lot of examples like this being used, but it's usually like secondhand information or something that someone read on the internet or something like that. But to hear straight from the guy building a project that's over a mile long, to hear him say, this is completely level from one end to the other. We did not adjust for the curvature. How do you explain that? If we lived on a ball, wouldn't you have to adjust for the curvature? You would think that if you didn't, it wouldn't be structurally sound. But one thing that a lot of people who have difficulty getting behind this flat earth idea, one thing I think that they fail to consider, if we were living on a globe, then wouldn't all the evidence overwhelmingly point toward that? Because when all the evidence overwhelmingly points toward us being on a flat, non-rotating plane, at what point do those stop being anomalies? Because 3 or 4 things that are difficult to explain, you could call those anomalies. But when you have literally hundreds all pointing toward the same thing, and you have less pointing toward a globe, that starts to sound more like evidence.
In this next video, 2 friends are hosting a live stream when something pretty spooky is captured live. Now the 2 boys in this video often do live streams while playing video games late at night. It just so happens that this particular incident took place during an all-nighter, where around 5 in the morning, a strange noise is heard in the kitchen. The 2 usually play in the living room, so the noise was close by when it happened. The boys thought it was a family member who was grabbing a morning snack, so they shrugged it off and didn't think much of it. But later on, something happens that grabs their full attention and prompts them to end the live stream immediately. While playing in the dark, this happens. At first, the fridge door seemingly opens on its own, as though someone had gone over to grab a snack. At least that's what the two boys thought, considering that one of them has a brother who wakes up around this time to cook something up. Thinking that he left the fridge door open by accident, one of them gets up to close it. But as they walk back, this happens. A chair swiftly moves on its own by more than a few inches, causing both friends to freeze in their tracks. It was at this point that they both knew that something unexplainable had occurred, something supernatural. Viewers believe so too, but as always, I'll let you be the judge on that. Had something paranormal occurred, or had something else happened here?
I think this one's interesting because their reactions seem pretty genuine, and it adds to it that this happened on a live stream, so it would have been quite risky for them to attempt to pull something like this off. If they messed up on the live stream, then they're caught. And the odds of someone recording that live stream and then blasting it all over the internet to expose them as frauds would be pretty high. But at the same time, it would be pretty easy to have someone crouched down. There was so much stuff in the way that they could have opened that refrigerator off in the distance and not be seen. And when the boy who stays behind and continues to sit in his chair, when he finally gets up and walks away, the moment he steps away from his seat is the moment that that chair slides out of place. So this could have been planned, and he could have had that chair tied to his leg with a string. And the moment that he got up and started walking, it pulled the chair, and that's your explanation. But again, their reactions seem pretty genuine from what I could tell. I mean, they're speaking a different language. But what do you all think about this one?
A U.S. draft could be considered by the White House, with officials announcing how this first draft in more than 50 years will work. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed during an interview with Fox News that the president is keeping all of his options open, including the possibility of a future military draft, as official reports from the Selective Service on how the modern-day draft process works detail that first only men aged 18 to 25 are eligible for the draft, the order being 20-year-olds first, followed by 21 through 25, after that 19, and last is 18. But the actual selection process of who in each age group goes first is a random birthday lottery where 366 numbered ping pong balls are placed in one bowl and 366 birthday combinations are placed in another. A ball is drawn from each and matched up, thereby giving every birthday in the year a randomly assigned number. And finally, when the military needs men, these numbers will be called up sequentially in batches from the current age group.
I have a feeling it's about to start looking like Ukraine over here. I don't think anyone who's not already joined up with the military is going to be on board with this idea. And I've got a son who's about to turn 18. These satanic elites are not going to send my son to die in one of their wars. The first time we had to do a draft, the only reason it worked is because people still felt like they were fighting for a good cause. But these people have been exposed now. No one is going to feel like they have to do this in order to save the country. No one feels like we should be involved in this anyways. But they won't be drafting my son. I know that. But I just thought I would give everyone a heads up. If you haven't heard that they're intending to do this, it is coming. Prepare yourself. But like anything, if we all stand together as a united front, they can't force us to do this. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to drop your theories and your comments in the comments section down below. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day. And I will see you all in the next one.